Hi, I'm Susan Blaine and welcome. I'm here with a friend, Xavier Sotelo, because we go way back. We'll tell them about
Way
that.
back.
But Xavier Sotelo is an actor, and Death of a Ladies' Man by Gabriel Byrne and Star Trek as Captain Diego Vela
Yes.
is your recent roles. And you're part of the Ottawa Actors Cooperative. I love the acronym.
Yeah, TOC, our TOC group,
TOC.
TOAC, the Ottawa Actors Cooperative.
Now,
That's
you
right.
wanted to be an actor since you were a kid.
Oh my Lord, yes, since I was 8 years old. I was born and raised in San Francisco, California. And
you were inspired by a TV show, The Streets of San Francisco,
That's right.
with Michael Douglas and Carl Malden. So you're raised in California till you were 13, because your dad was a diplomat. So then you moved to New York City, and then
That's
you were
right.
in Washington, D.C. in your teens. Then you moved to Ottawa. Hi, welcome to Sharing with Susan B, telling stories from the heart. We're looking to inspire, telling stories of struggle, vulnerability, and lessons learned.
Yep.
You went to Carleton University for psychology and music.
Music, yeah.
But then you fell into high-tech sales, so that kind of dream of being an actor kind of faded away. And you spent 19 years in the technology industry in Ottawa.
That's
you
right.
owned your own tech company for 5 years, and that's where we met. When
That's
you had
right.
Ranex Microtrade.
That's right.
And interesting, shortly after that, you took a 9-year sabbatical. I mean, we could do a whole series
Almost
on
a
that.
decade.
9 years, almost a decade.
I could write a book in terms of what happened in that 9-10 years.
It really turned things around, right?
It did. That
And
was
then
a major
you became a
turnaround.
full-time actor in 2010.
That's right.
So tell us about that journey and what you're really passionate about
Oh
right
my
now.
Lord. So as you mentioned, it was Streets of San Francisco that actually where I initially got bit by the bug. And I tell people I got bit pretty severely too. Just being on set and the filming and being around it was something I'll never forget. It's indelibly burned into my memory as if
And
it
now
happened
you're
yesterday.
doing it full-time.
Now I'm doing it full time.
You're making a living at it.
That's right. And I never thought I would be able to do that just because of all the stories you hear about how difficult it is and, waiting tables and everything that actors do.
Well,
struggling
that's because
artists.
you spent the time being prepared by working in the
Lots of
high-tech.
training. Well, actually, high tech did provide me with some training because I was in the sales area, right? I went into the sales field of high tech, and you got to really know some solid psychology to be able to pull off sales in that business. Rock Robertson, another guy I used to play guitar with, he called me up one day and said, "There's a position open at Site Assistance," which is just across the parking lot from where Ottawa Business Journal was set up at one point. It was it was funny. And I remember telling him, "Well, what can I possibly do? I'm an actor and a musician. I mean, I don't even know how to turn a computer on. The position is still open. It's yours if you want it." It's in the warehouse, and it has to do with returning merchandise. It's an RMA position. I went from the warehouse into sales, and then I realized, this is not so bad, and I started making a little bit of money.
Yeah.
And for an artist of any color,
A starving artist.
a starving artist of any color, you start making a little bit of money, and you kind of like it.
Yeah, you keep going for a
You
while.
keep going,
What was
you
your
know?
biggest business struggle?
I found myself not liking the person who I was turning into. I was changing, and I didn't like that kind of change. I didn't like the person I was evolving into. My heart wasn't in it. It led me to a place where I had to really evaluate why I was feeling the way I was feeling and why I had let myself diverge from a path that I knew I was meant for ever since I was 8 years old, which was acting, the arts. And in that exploration, I realized that a lot of the difficulties that were starting to resurface, and part of the reason why I was good at doing what I did in high tech and sales was a lot of denial, a lot of closing myself off from things that I didn't want to address, so I used it as a sort of escape. Took me down a road where I was starting to surprise myself because I knew that I would have to finally I would finally have to face a lot of the demons that I had been hiding. When I had left California, I was going to acting academies, acting schools, and workshops, all kinds of programs in California that I just threw myself into, or rather I bugged my parents to put me in these things, camps and schools and academies. And it was an unfortunate event that happened when I was about, I guess, around between 10 and 12 years old. I had an acting teacher and acting coach, and it was it was difficult to have to acknowledge what happened because I felt a tremendous amount of shame and guilt from what happened, somebody that I put a lot of trust into. But he sexually molested me at a very, very young age.
And I know you're out the other side now because you're comfortable and you're talking about it, which is very inspiring and so brave, and we appreciate that. What about lessons that you've learned from that struggle? Can you illuminate any of those?
Yeah, well, you know, as the years developed, the byproduct of all that escapism and avoiding having to come to terms and reckoning exactly what happened to me, to be able to talk about it. I mean, I've only been able to talk about it over the last, 3 or 4 years now, openly. I started talking about it amongst close friends.
And what has that done for you to be able to talk about that?
A tremendous amount of relief
Yeah.
to finally get it out there and to be able to talk about it,
Yeah.
not hide it and not feel that there's any shame to it or feel the stigma attached to it anymore.
That when you opened up and you shared and you were more comfortable talking about it, how things really cracked wide open for you in terms of your career, right?
It did, yeah.
You know, the universe sort of conspired to support you once you were open, once you released yourself of that.
It was dragging me back.
Yeah.
It really was. It was not allowing me to be something that I needed to be, especially for this craft, which was genuine and authentic, and start peeling the layers of the onion back.
Yeah. Well, it would have stifled your creativity.
It did. I felt a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Anger towards what happened, especially to this individual. And I felt like he robbed some of the best years of my life, and that I allowed it to happen because I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to take that control back.
No, of course not. You were a child.
But also realizing that I no longer have the luxury of this amount of time ahead of me, right? I've got this behind me now, and I've got this in front of me.
Yeah.
So it accelerates the process once you achieve a certain level of awareness.
It empowers you.
It empowers you. It strengthens you to take action and finally take that control back, where you're not only addressing the tentacles, but you realize that now's the time to cut the head off the octopus, and the tentacles will fall away, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
What advice would you give to your younger self, knowing all that you do now?
Oh, my Lord.
Just some quick piece of advice.
Be authentic. Be as genuine as you can possibly be, and don't let yourself believe that you have to be a certain way. It's what I tell actors, you know, there's a lot of similarities between personal life and the professional life, because when actors ask me for advice, I tell them, when you go in for a role or an audition, immediate red flags go up for me when I hear an actor say, oh, I know exactly how to play that part, or how that character should be, or exactly how that moment should come off. Red flags go off immediately because I see them boxing themselves in to an idea of a moment, of an emotion, of a character, that if they do that, they're oppressing that performance into a box. And the whole thing about acting is to not do that, to be in the moment, to be truthful, authentic, and genuine in a moment.
Just allow real creativity to flow and not to box yourself in. How about some rapid fire questions?
Okay, shoot.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Zorro.
Favorite food indulgence?
Pizza. That's always been my comfort food.
Someone you admire?
Oh, my father.
Something that not too many people know about you?
I put myself through university by holding down 3 jobs. I was offered, my parents were, of course, doing pretty well. They were well off, and they offered to pay for my education. I said, no, I want to do this myself. So
good for you.
Went out and got 3 jobs and did it.
Favorite movie? Favorite movie, book, or quote?
That's so hard coming from an actor who admires so many movies. I would say, Citizen Kane comes to mind. That's one of my all-time favorites. I mean, that's won the Academy Award in 1941.
What about a book?
The Alchemist.
A quote?
It's Shakespearean. It's always stuck with me since high school, and I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. The assassination could trammel up the consequences and catch with this or see success. That but this blow would be the be-all and the end-all here, but here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come.
What's something that always makes you smile, Xavier?
My daughters.
They're beautiful. What's your definition of success in one sentence?
Oh, that's a good one. It's the long game.
It certainly is, isn't it? If you want to check out Xavier, he has some of the greatest posts in carrying us along his journey as an actor. He's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, he's got LinkedIn. And your Twitter and Facebook are your artist pages. So,
That's right, and IMDb as well, where I have all my listings of all my movie credits.
Awesome. Well, people can check you out, and I thank you so much, my friend, for inspiring us today. Thank you.
You're very much welcome. It was a pleasure to be here, for sure.